Right, I'm going to show you this. It's quite unusual in our country to have. I mean, Asko made stuff is already quite unusual to have, but to have an Asko made dryer, I've barely really any seen them around. The only ones I have really kind of seen for sale are the Whirlpool Pros. Although, amazingly, after we bought this, we saw a Electrolux Waskator made Asko made dryer for sale as well. But anyway, bought this from a seller that likes to sell washers and dryers but knows nothing about them for £85. And then I got it and it wasn't drying, or it was, but it was taking way too long. As it turns out, it was the fan, but I'll get onto that in a minute because there's something quite cool about this. Anyway, this is finished in lovely stainless steel. The model number is MTD07scfsc. Right, let's start off with down here. So this panel comes away and it's a condenser. So behind it we have our condenser, which is actually quite big. That flat flicks down and then you pull that out and you clean it. In fact, it's almost identical. Probably is actually. Not that far from a Zanussi AEG one. Electrolux one, shall I say. You'll pull that in. And then we've got this here, which is actually a fan cover. Now this is what I was going to go on about. I took this off and you've got very easy access to the front fan, which is basically, I have not ever seen in a dryer before. Any dryer. You take that cover off, you can take the front fan off with, it's just got a bolt on. And that was what was causing the problem. That fan was completely coated in fluff. So basically, as it was going around, it wasn't actually spinning any air through. Airflow was very, very, very poor. That goes under there, and that one goes over. So, and then that clips on. Right, another thing about this dryer is that this is kind of sold as professional / light industrial. At the back, it has a drum bearing that's easy access to, so you can actually change it without really having to access the whole machine. Yep, there's the bolt. So you can take the rear little bearing out and put a new one in if you want, without ever taking it apart. Now that's pretty cool because you don't have that really on any other machine. I don't think I've ever come across one. Just trying to think whether it's a new C. Right, so the machine is currently in standby mode, sort of. So this is the on-off button. Turn it on. Right, we've got 6 programs. We've got auto dry, auto normal dry, auto iron dry, air fluff, 60 minute, and now the timer's come up. And time dry 60 minutes, as well as auto extra dry. No other programs, and you've got 2 time programs there. You can't adjust the time. They're both 1 hour long. Also, time dry 60 minute is with hot air, whilst air fluff is cold air, so the heat switched off. Select any of the other 5, and you can select this button here. And that's temperature reduce, so it's low temperature. So the idea is that you can select any of these with low temperature, except auto iron dry. Huh? Oh no, it's there. It must go off when you change the program. Yeah, it does. So it must go off. There we go. So you can dry either cottons or synthetics then at any of the drying scales. Though what normal dry is, I don't know, since auto dry, which I've only used so far actually, I haven't dried everything perfectly. Then we've got a 24-hour delay. And then we've got this button which says 2 hours. It's a 2-hour anti-crease. If you don't switch it on, it doesn't do one. If you switch that on, it will anti-crease for up to 2 hours before finally shutting off. If you open the door, obviously the cycle will reset within the anti-crease period. And finally we've got our stop button here. I accidentally started it. Finally, we've got our water collection tank at the top here. Now, we've got our door. There is no catches. What we've got is magnets. Right, we've also got this filter in our door. Now, it gets a bit confusing with this. So, normally you push that shut, and then to open it you pull here, and then the filter lifts up. Now, it's a bit confusing because you've actually got this will be normally covered, but the inside rarely is. It does, as you can see here, but it rarely gets covered, and that's because it's a twin filter. You get these on most dryers, to be honest, but usually are not incorporated in the same filter. So, any other normal drying cycle, you just tend to just wipe this one clean and that's it. After a few cycles, open it up and then wipe that one clean as well. You put this in like so with the thick bit here towards the door. Another thing to note is, if you notice when I open the door, the program lights go out. So this will not light up if the door is open. There's also a drum light that doesn't work at the minute. I'm going to guess that the bulb is gone, but I've not looked into it. There's also a key jammed in one of the drum paddles. So we've got 2 drum paddles. Ta-da's the key lodged in there. Your drum light is here. One of these twisting off and then putting one in, but I don't have a spare. Alright, so I'm going to place them in. We're going to select auto dry, 2-hour anti-crease, and then start. Right, something you may click on straight to, this display is not working. But it does, you'll see in a minute. Basically, it takes a couple of minutes, it will calculate how much moisture is in the load, and then it will display a time of how long it thinks it's going to take to do the load. From experience, obviously the first load took way longer than it said because of the jammed up, gummed up fan. However, the second load I did came up with about 50 minutes on the clock, and it took about 35. So this will be the case of this. It should be different. it's saying 54 minutes remaining. So far, I've only ever seen the timer count down in 5-minute steps. Apart from at the end, in which case it counts down in 1-minute steps. Let's see what this does. It's saying 54, so the next step should be 49. So we've got, obviously, it starts, and then when it reaches the different dryness scales, it will move round. This one is the cooldown one, and then this is under 90 crease. all done. Let's see how, if they've dried. Well, ooh, they have actually. Done. Done. Really fast. Really fast. These were, apart from the jeans, there's maybe slight dampness left on them. Just a little bit. Jeans have ever so slight dampness, but like they just need airing off. I wouldn't, you know, they're probably just about spot on. So that whole load took 40 minutes. This is a 3.5 kilo load, pre-spun at 1200 on a sort of short spin because it's on a from the Miele on the dark cycle, and yeah. 40 minutes! So this is your filter. So like I said, you do the front one. And then every couple of cycles, open it up, do the inner one as well. Then now we're done, we're going to switch it off. Well, am I going to give this out of 10 then? Amazingly, I'm actually really stupidly impressed with it. Yeah, like really impressed. Okay, I don't think it's quite there as Miele, but better than Bosch because it's definitely faster. It's very basic actually in functions. You know, you get 6 programs and that's it, and a low heat button. It looks like it's a lot, but it's not. It's made basic. It's just like the washer, to be honest. But that, on its everyday value, I mean, for me, I would just be using them said programs, probably the first 2, to be honest, with the low heat setting, with anti-crease setting, and that's it. I don't really need any more than that myself. And possibly time dry. That's maybe the downside to this. Is that time dry at 60 minutes is the only timed option. I think it's a little too long for me. I mean, I'd rather have a 30 minutes time dry and just repeat it again and again, you know. Because obviously time dry is made really for less than 1 kilo. Well, if it dries 3.5 kilo in about 40-45 minutes, it's going to dry 1 kilo in about 25 minutes, isn't it? Right. Out of 10 then. It gets 9 out of 10 if I was going to rate it like that. Yeah, it does everything you want. It's very well built. It's very well thought out. But it's quite flawless really in certain ways. Apart from having that time 60 minutes. That's just an opinion for you know, opinion. There's no say really delicate or wall cycle or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like high and low heat with sensor dry, and that's about it. That also being said, you get air fluff. So, it's one of them. I do like this dispenser bottle. I haven't actually shown it properly. When you come to tip it out, you've got the hole there, and it actually all comes out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the future. Bye for now.